If you've ever looked at the Spotify top charts, you might have noticed that this song has been in the top 50 for the last year, which is a weirdly long time. But that's not the unusual part. The unusual part is that it was made by a high schooler with no music experience in these conditions.
My studio. Now, if you take a look around, this is my little sister's room. And this happens to be my little sister's closet.
Today, this is where that song is.
His late-night television debut with the song Romantic Homicide. David. In the back of
But d4vd, pronounced David, isn't a musical genius. At least, not in the way you think. Because just 2 years ago, this is what his music sounded like.
It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter.
To understand how it's even possible to go from here to here in just 2 years, you need to understand a genre that no one really understands. Behold, indie music. It's a genre known for being low production value, independent, do-it-yourself, underground, and it doesn't take a lot of money to make a hit song that blows up. You've probably heard what it sounds like before, but there's a problem. We still don't have a consensus on what indie music is, or which artists count as indie, or which artist is the indiest of them all. We all know the other genres have their top dogs, people who immediately come to mind. But where do you even start with indie? For months, I tried to find the answer. I made a list of criteria. I gathered the clues, connected the dots, did the research. I wrote and erased and rewrote my criteria, until finally I found someone who checked off all the boxes. And that was David.
I went on my phone the next day, I was like, how to make music on iPhone. That was it. Apple earbuds. No mic. No headphones either. Literally the mic on the headphones. I'm just sitting there like this, knees up on the door of the closet, just going crazy.
You probably wouldn't believe that only 2 years ago, he was in the same position as any regular person. No fan base, no connections, no studio, no equipment, not even any prior music knowledge. But there's one difference between David and every other kid who dreams of having a music career, and it actually isn't related to music at all. It's this, his old YouTube channel called Chronic Ant, where for 4 years he posted Fortnite clips and montages, usually getting a couple hundred views on each clip. This is not enough subscribers to make you even remotely famous. Considering the fact that YouTubers with millions of subscribers have many times tried and failed to get people to listen to their music. But if you pay close attention to this particular channel, you might start to notice something weird. Something that makes what happened later start to make a lot of sense. Because sure, David was playing Fortnite, but what he was really playing was the game of going viral. There are hundreds and hundreds of clips and videos using every trick under the sun to try and get people to watch them. And I mean every trick. And to be honest, some of them were pretty desperate, but it eventually started working. There was a certain way to title your videos that would get more views, and there was a certain style to videos that would make them blow up. Finally, he was seeing some success, and at the same time, he began to sign with professional esports teams, getting closer and closer to making a career out of video games. Until this happened.
I got copyright strikes by the people that I was putting the music in the videos for. And basically, our mom told me to make my own music. I started making the videos, and I'll make a song for the videos, and I, play the game, and then I make another video, and then make another song for the video, almost like I was scoring it like it was a movie or TV show.
But you might be wondering, how does a teenager with no music knowledge just make his own music? It's not that easy. Don't you need to know music theory and instruments and harmony and how to produce? Well, the answer is you actually don't. Thousands and thousands of producers release instrumentals on YouTube for anyone to make songs with, many of them being 100% free. And while most aspiring musicians already know about this, David was one of the only ones who understood just what it meant. But still, when it came to rap, He failed. No one was listening to it. No one cared. YouTube didn't like it. TikTok didn't like it. Not even SoundCloud liked it. The truth is, millions of high school kids want to become rappers. But there were a few genres that did have room and were much more forgiving. Indie, rock, and R&B. And this is where the story turned around. Remember when I said you could tell his music would do well from his Fortnite YouTube channel? Well, this is what I mean. I call it the 3 keys of a successful musician. Quantity first, then quality.
So how often do you make music today?
9 songs a day.
What?
Yeah, bro.
You might think 9 songs a day is crazy. You might think it's weird to have 97 unfinished snippets in a folder instead of one finished song. But the reality is, most hit songs are written in about 15 to 30 minutes. Just ask any artist how they came up with their most popular song. If you put all your effort into one song, you might end up fooling yourself into thinking it's good when it's not. But when you pump out 9 songs a day, you'll eventually make something catchy, and you will not be afraid to trash the rest. And there's no better place to learn this than YouTube, because after making 538 videos, you're going to learn that some just won't do well, no matter how much time you spend on them. And the one you recorded in 20 seconds ends up being the one that goes viral. Number 2, know how to get attention. Once David found that certain videos grab people's attention, he started making more of those videos. And watch how he transfers that into music. These covers with the chipmunk filter were actually getting some views, a couple thousand here and there. And then he did this.
Sometimes these walls seem to cave in on me when I look in your eyes. I feel alive.
Now personally, I don't think this was that bad, but clearly millions of people thought it was bad enough to make a trend out of it.
Sometimes these walls seem to cave in on me. Sometimes these walls seem to cave in on me. These walls seem to cave in on me. Sometimes these walls seem to cave in on me.
But the thing about David is that as a YouTuber, he knew just how rare it was to go viral. And when you do go viral, even for the wrong reasons, you double down on it. The high-pitched chipmunk covers became a consistent way for David to get recognition. And slowly, over time, the hate comments turned into this. And this. And of course, don't forget to put out tweets like this once in a while. That'll get people talking.
Did they want you to stop?
No, that was a lie, bro. So that's a tweet, right?
Yeah, that was a tweet.
lie. I just wanted a little bit more engagement, a little more drive from the community, man. I was like, yo, let's spice it up a little bit, bro. Like,
When all else fails, just pretend to quit and come back.
I'm deleting the channel, by the way. The channel's going. If you want to buy it, just comment or offer or something like that, bro.
It's not easy to advertise your music, but one thing I can guarantee is that you need to get creative with it if you ever want to really blow up. And finally, the last step. Become friends with your audience. As we've seen with many other musicians, the best way to get people to like you is to show them who you really are. And as we've seen again and again, TikTok is the best place to do this. Respond to comments, embrace the memes, be relatable. It's easier to grow a fan base when people get to interact with you and see what your life is like on a daily basis. But there's also one last secret to getting to the top and staying there. and that's to never forget where you came from. The reason why I think David is the face of indie right now is because despite signing with a record label and getting huge budgets to make music, he still records his songs in BandLab and posts snippets to Twitter and TikTok asking for feedback. And he still makes the majority of his music in a closet with wired earbuds. And not only that, but he still continues to post Fortnite montages using that music. And he continues to remind people where it all started. Although David never really ended up becoming a giant Fortnite YouTuber and his rap career failed early on, out of nowhere, his rise to success has shown the world that you never really know when it could be your turn, how fast it could happen, and just how you'll get there.